From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big early mornings LALATE broadcast with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Incredible great news forming overnight about that monthly stimulus check, which you're going to get in your bank account starting the month of July. I'll go over who you're going to get, how much you're going to get, and when you're going to get in this recording. It's a fourth stimulus check starting the month of July, and why the breaking news changed it across the board. Then in the second half of the recording, we can go over the fifth stimulus package. It heats up this fall. A two-bill, two-step process. But why the Fed's statement out of Atlanta may have changed this and raised your benefits a lot more. Incredible great news this morning. And then in the middle of this recording, we'll go over the big money landing directly in your bank account and that deadline you missed yesterday. But is there still hope to get other money still on the horizon? It's a big morning across the land. I'm here, you're here, the toast is toasted, the butter is buttering. I'm really excited for a big new morning. It's nice here in Los Angeles. I hope it's good where you are. And this is Early Mornings LA. Good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LA. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It's nice here in Los Angeles. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and so is 400,000 subscribers. What a big day it is. In this recording, we're going to be going over the fourth stimulus check, that monthly stimulus check starting the month of July, and what the breaking news said yesterday that impacts this to the finish line. Then in the second half of this recording, we're going to be going over the fifth stimulus package and why SSI and SSDI Social Security railroad benefits, veterans benefits, will not only be lifted up, but lifted up a larger percentage on top of that. And what is that percentage? We'll have all those breaking details in the second half of the recording. In the middle part of the show, we're going to go over the big money that's landing directly in your bank account and mailbox this week. And the other money, which you may or may not have filed a tax return for yesterday, we'll go over the fix-it for that if you still can do it. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel, live in the morning, taped in the afternoons, and with an overnight live feed, which is still airing at the time of this show. So after you're finished watching the show, jump into our 9-hour live show. I want you to subscribe. 400,000 subscribers. What an incredible achievement. Also like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Let's get right into the breaking details. The fourth stimulus package has two proposals, a House and a Senate. And while they look like they're similar, they're quite different in view of the breaking news. The House proposal provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The Senate proposal is July to December. And if you're watching in the live chat or the instant premiere when this show is airing at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, get ready to vote. And if you're watching it taped, get ready to vote as well. So the House proposal provides $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. The Senate amount is unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Wow. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 a person. Or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400 a person. Incredible great news. But before you vote, it's this number. Nope, it's the number before that. It is this number that is really the one that's getting impacted by the breaking news. Pandemic plus 1 year. No less than a week ago from today, when we talk about pandemic plus 1 year, we always were using, for example, the example that let's say there's 3 more months of the pandemic. The House proposal will give you 3 months of stimulus checks plus 12 months, 15 months of stimulus checks. But now we see that by all accounts, many believe that for legislative purposes, not for medicinal purposes, not for medicine, but for legislative purposes, the pandemic may be over by July. If that's the case, then the House proposal won't be pandemic plus 1 year. It'll just be 1 year. And suddenly see how the Senate plan looks more attractive. House plan over 12 months is $13,000. Senate plan over 6 months is potentially $12,000. Half the amount of time, the same amount of money. So now vote if you're in the live chat, House or Senate. Let's go over the other details of what's going on. So the mask mandate is really what's changing the focus of when the pandemic's over. So far this week, we've heard from CVS, Ultra Beauty, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, businesses after businesses that have announced that they're lifting the mask mandate for vaccinated people if not required by the local jurisdiction. That means that the pandemic may be perceived as done and over by the time that the vote happens in July. Now let's go over the big money. Monthly stimulus checks, yes, starting the month of July, continuing thereafter. Who gets it? You do. If you're a single individual, you get the fourth stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Just double it. And if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, you get the fourth stimulus check. Household 4 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Is the check the same amount for adult dependents, children, and everyone else? It is. Is it taxable income? It's not. Is it taken out for child support? We don't know just yet. There would not be a wave of stimulus checks. It would come monthly. And ultimately, I'm a reporter. I just report the news. I don't represent what they're promising. They're making the promises, they're legislators, and they're voting on it. But they represent the vote would be in July. That means that the first stimulus check would come in the month of July for July and continuing month after month thereafter. It's currently underway with a 2-bill, 2-step, 2-month process. And away we go. That's your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Later in this recording, I have more about the breaking news that impacts this in a great positive way. But let me give you a preview of the second half of this video about the breaking news that impacted fifth stimulus late yesterday. One major news report came out that suggested that the inflationary rate may not be the 20% that Jeremy Siegel talked about on Friday, which I detailed over the weekend, but may still be very high. And if that's the case, fifth stimulus heats up the fall as I hit the audio. Fifth stimulus heats up this fall with an incredible raising of your benefits and then adding an inflationary benchmark. I'll go over the incredible great news about how much money that is in the second half of this recording. But let's now get to the big money land your bank account starting this week. Now get a pen and paper ready because I got a lot of money to cover in this video and it starts right now. There's thousands of dollars, some of it automatic, which I refer to as donut moments because you can just eat a donut and watch the money land. Or tough love moments. And guess what? The tough love moments are about to end. So let's go over the details starting right now. First, some great news. When third stimulus passed, I told you a lot of times that it's important to understand that third stimulus will pay you thousands and tens of thousands of dollars potentially, far more than the third stimulus check of $1,400, and that you need to pounce as a purple hawk, and get that money before the stimulus stampede rushes in. Well, guess what? That money is landing now. The biggest money I've always told viewers since January of the third stimulus package is not a $1,400 stimulus check, but rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and utility assistance. And it's now landing this week, last week, and next week. So let's go over the money you need to get right now. First, it's about $5,000 of money for rent. Incredible great news. 4 to 6 months of rent. A couple hundred to a couple $1,000s for utilities. And then money for mortgages and homeowners' utilities. Where do you get that? I hope you got that pen and paper ready. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, State House Authority. You reach out to them and it's ask the following words. Rent assistance because of COVID. You don't say stimulus. You do not say stimulus. You can say American Recovery Act under Biden. And that's about $5,000 for rent. It's not going away this week. It's not going away anytime next week. But it is first come, first serve. Which brings me to a tough love moment right now. Eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance will go away and not be brought back at the end of third stimulus run. So it's not coming back in a fourth stimulus. And rent assistance and mortgage assistance and utility assistance are not coming back under fourth stimulus in July. The concept that Democrats and Republicans had is they want to give you the money for rent now so you're caught up on your rent so that they can lift and get rid of the eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance. So understand, get that money right now if you need it because there will not be a protection of eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance in a few months from now. All right, let's go to some other great news, which is the money for SNAP. SNAP has been a big success. I've had viewers yesterday say, thank you, LA, I got money for rent. And I've had other viewers say, thank you, LA, I got money for SNAP. Very exciting. SNAP is so much money. What is it? It's money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture, 211. Where do you get that money? Call up 211 and ask for Department of Agriculture. Same eligibility about as a stimulus check. And here's how much money, a fortune. If you're a family of 4 in Hawaii, you get upwards of $16,000 a year. It's incredible, great news. $16,000 because of a Trump and Biden double executive orders that lifted it collectively 15% over 1 year. And there you go. We are 10 minutes into this video. I got you $5,000 for rent and $15,000 a snap if you are in Hawaii. Incredible, great news. Go get it. Now let's turn to the other big money, and some of this is donut money. Let's start with donut money number one. It's incredible, great news because the states are returning thousands of dollars of money back to you. And one viewer reached out and said, my husband's getting that $5,000. I'm so excited. Yes. So let's go over what this money is and who it's coming from. It's coming from your state to the bank account you have on file with your state. And what is it? It's overpaid money that they paid you during the scope of your unemployment benefits to no fault of your own, and then asked you to return the money. What's going on? The Department of Labor has stepped in and said, states that overpaid you unemployment benefits due to a computer malfeasance and then told you to return the money back to you, to them, told you to return the money back to them, were in error. They should not have done that, says the Department of Labor, and has ordered those states to return the money back to you. It's incredible, great news. So if your state at any time overpaid you by mistake, their mistake, and then asked you to return it and you did, it's coming back to you. To know when and how you're going to get it, reach out to your respective state. Which brings me to donut moment number two. This is incredible, great news, and this money is coming from Department of Treasury, IRS. Two possible places, likely the first. In the mailbox, beige or white envelope. Inside, a check from Department of Treasury or IRS beige check with a line tax refund. When are you getting it? I'll go over that in a second. What is this for? It is money refunded back to you for your 2020 tax return that you paid taxes on your unemployment assistance. And I had one viewer who's already gotten $2,000. Congratulations. So where is this coming and how is this working? Let's go over an example. If you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance in 2020, filed a 2020 tax return of which it was $5,000 a total tax bill, and $4,000 of it was taxes on your unemployment benefits, you're getting $4,000 back from the IRS automatically. Nothing for you to do. Donut moment. Incredible, great news. They're returning the taxes you paid to the federal government on that 2020 return for the unemployment section of the return. Great news. So now we know, because of a new press release, breaking news from the IRS, when you're going to get paid. Everyone's going to get paid in May, but it's coming in three phases. Phase number one, single filers, no dependents, simple returns, no other tax refunds on that return. Phase two, single filers, dependents, more complicated returns. Phase three, joint filers like husband and wife. Phase one will be paid early part of this week, last week. Phase two will start later this week into next week. And then phase three will be the end of the month. And there you go, donut moment. Which brings me now to the ending, potentially, of tough love moments on this channel for a while. Over the weekend and last week, I launched something called Tough Love Moments, which referred to certain things you had to do. And what was the timeline? Yesterday. Here's what's at issue. Personal federal tax returns were due by the end of Monday yesterday. And over the last 7 days, I told you there's certain things you had to do by Monday to get that money. And if you did not do that tax return by the end of Monday, you would not get that money. Here's what you need to know. As you watch this video on a Tuesday, clearly you've missed the deadline. So can you still file things late? You can potentially file things late. But here is the concern, that ultimately late on your end may be late on their end. So while I don't know if I'm going to continue the tough love moments much longer on this channel because the deadline has now passed, I do want you to understand, for at least today, or at least this morning, that if you want to get this fixed, get it fixed today. Otherwise, it's not going to get fixed. Which brings me to tough love moment number one. If you were an individual who took out for federal taxes in 2020 and from your unemployment benefits and did not file a 2020 tax return yesterday, go file that tax return late right today. Here's an example. Let's say you took out $100 a week for 10 weeks for federal taxes on your unemployment benefits and did not file a tax return yesterday. Well, file that tax return right away today and request that $1,000 back from IRS. And that brings us now to the big news about the children. This is probably one of the topics which I'm going to phase out. Why? Because either you got it done or you didn't get it done. And after about 7 days recording, I think this message has been made very clear. Great big money is coming to people who are parents of children. If two things happen, you made less than $75,000 and IRS knows that child is with you. Here is how much money you're getting. A parent will get $3,600 starting in the month of July, prorated over a year, which is $300 a month if that child is 5 to newborn, or $3,000 prorated over a year, $250 a month if that child is 17 to 6. But here's why it triggered 3 tough love moments, which I detailed over the last week of this channel and have now effectively passed. The deadline has passed. The first tough love moment was the following. If you believe that IRS does not know that child exists and you never file tax returns, you had to file that tax return yesterday. Otherwise, you're not going to get paid. So if you're watching this recording and you believe that IRS does not know that child exists and is with you, you need to immediately file the tax return by the end of the day. If you don't, you're not going to get paid in the month of July. Here's the situation. IRS is paying it based upon where they know the child exists. And if you don't think that IRS knows that child exists and is with you, you won't get paid in the month of July. A mom of a 5, 4, and 3-year-old who never files tax returns and that IRS doesn't know that are with her is going to pass up the opportunity to get $10,000 because she didn't file that tax return. Tough love moment number 2 has also passed, and that is if you're a single parent, if you're a parent and you have never listed a child on prior tax returns, but did file prior tax returns, then you would have had to file that tax return yesterday. Here's the example. It's usually the case where the child was born in the last tax year, or the child appeared on someone else's tax return, and you've always filed tax returns over the years, but for some reason you didn't file the 2020. IRS isn't going to know that child exists. You needed to file that tax return yesterday. And finally, the biggest situation, but the rarest, is when you always filed a tax return, but the last tax return you filed was 2019, where you listed that child and you made too much money. Guess what? If IRS looks at that as the final tax return, they will not know if you're eligible under 2020. And if you took a nosedive on income in 2020, didn't make much, you would have gotten the money for the children. That's why you would have had to file the tax return yesterday. Now IRS, with not seeing a 2020 tax return, is going to look at the 2019 and say, you made too much money. We're not going to give it to you. Which brings me to the 3 major tough love moments, which I think I'm probably going to phase out, which is number 1, missing stimulus checks. I don't know how many times one person could say it. But if you're missing a first stimulus check, a second stimulus check, a third stimulus check, or any household's member stimulus check, it is now deemed missing for purposes of IRS. They don't want you tracking it. They don't want you using the IRS tool anymore. They don't want you presuming there's another wave of stimulus checks. They want you and implore you to file a tax return to request it back. The only way to get that unpaid stimulus check is by filing a 2020 tax return yesterday and requesting it back. So if you're missing a stimulus check, file it today. If you don't, you're not getting the stimulus check. And then finally, one of the most important things is extensions. Don't do an extension if you don't have to do an extension. Why? Because IRS is trying to pay out this money based upon information. And if you don't provide them the information 6 months later, then guess what? You're not going to get the money, the stimulus, when it normally comes out for everyone else. You'll get it later than 6 months, potentially a year later. Don't wait on filing information. And finally, what's important to understand is that I understand you're not required to file a tax return. You don't make enough money. Or you're on SSI and SSDI. You're not required to file a tax return. I got it. That's not what the subject of this situation is. If you are one of these people that had to fix something as simple as an address where you're no longer at the same address and IRS doesn't know that, or had to fix a missing child that wasn't born in the last tax year, or had to fix something like the child was on the ex-husband's tax return is now on yours, you have to file this tax return. If you don't file the tax return, you're not getting the money. So if you're watching this recording on a Tuesday morning or anytime later on Tuesday, go to the tax preparer right now. And I think I'm not going to cover these missing items after that point because at this point, the timeline has passed. But the good news is that rent, utilities, homeowners assistance, and more are still available. So go get them. Go get them. They are not run out. And if you need help getting them, reach out to the volunteers. You've been doing a great job. The volunteers are in the description of this video at news.la.com/community. They're in the pinned comment as well. There's an emoji that sends you to the webpage, and the webpage has a series of cats on it. Reach out to them. They can help you get that rent. I'll be back in 60 seconds from now. Those volunteers can help you with rent, utilities, SNAP. Cannot help you with tax advice or unemployment. But I'll be back in 60 seconds from now with big updates about your 4th stimulus check and your 5th stimulus package. Stay with me.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now on Early Mornings LALATE. The toast is toasted, the butter is butter, and the coffee is brewing. I'm here, you're here, and so is 400,000 subscribers. What an achievement. We finally made it to 400,000 subscribers approximately. 1 year and a couple days, so congratulations. Thank you for the love, and we are just getting started, so make sure you subscribe. This is LALATE, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't want you to miss a single video. Right after this, jump into the live show. The live show, it's a 9-hour live telecast, and it's about crypto, but it's fun. We all chat about everything we want to chat about. Also, like this video, and if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Let's get to the details about what's happening with Fifth Stimulus. Well, it's really exciting. You understand how Fifth Stimulus works, but let me go over why the breaking news changed Fifth Stimulus yesterday. So Fifth Stimulus is the latest stimulus package in the fall. Two-bill, two-step, two-month process that adds new benefit limits, then removes the asset limits, and then adds an inflationary benchmark. That's where the breaking news is. And then removes the income exclusion, removes the marriage penalty. All right, let me explain slowly why the breaking news was absolutely incredible late yesterday. So this is what's at issue. How does this work? First, they're going to raise your benefits up. Who's you? SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, SSA, all of you would raise your benefits up to a big new number. And then they would add an inflationary benchmark. What's a benchmark? Every December, they look at your benefits and say, oh, inflation was up 4%. We're going to raise you 4% next year. Then the year after that, inflation's up 3%. We're going to raise you additional 3%. What's important to understand about benchmark is the following. This is how it works. It steps up or stays the same. It never steps down. So, for example, they raise you up under fifth stimulus. Then December, 4% inflation. Raise you up 4%. The year after that, another 3% inflation. Okay, we raise you up another 3%. Then for 5 years, it's 0% inflation. Do they step you down? No, they don't step you down. It's always the same. So what happened yesterday? And what happened yesterday in view of what happened on Friday? Well, on Friday, Jeremy Siegel, top economist and professor of school at the School of Wharton Business School, said that he thought the inflationary rate would be 20% in December. Wow. Okay, I detailed that on the weekend. But what happened late yesterday? The Atlanta Federal Reserve President, Raphael Bostic, and that he's one of the divisions of the Federal Reserve this one's out of Atlanta, spoke to a broadcast media, the same one that Siegel spoke to, and was asked about inflation. He was asked, what inflation rate do you think it's going to be later this year? He said, I don't really want to say what inflation rate it's going to be. But guess what? Then they ran his tracker. And the consumer price index was released about a week ago today, and it showed that we're growing at 4.2%. Well, what did his Bostic's own Atlanta Fed tracker reveal? That the later part of this year, we're going to be growing at a 10.5% rate. Wow. So if we're sitting back right now thinking we're at a 2% inflationary rate and Bostic is saying, yeah, but take whatever you think we're at now and bring it from 4% to 10%, that's not double. That's almost double and a half. That means you could see a much bigger inflation rate in December when they apply that to your benefits. So even if Jeremy Siegel's wrong, it's not 20% inflationary rate, then even if Bostic is right, you could see something very large in December. Let's use an example. They raise your benefits up across the board under the fifth stimulus. And let's say Bostic's number puts us somewhere at about an 8 or 9 or 10% inflation rate. Let's do 10%. Then that would mean that your benefits raise up an additional 10% lifetime, meaning the year after this, they don't step down. They only step up. If next year, a year after this, it's 2%, then it'll go up another 2%. And if for 5 years after that, 0, it would just stay the same. Incredible, great news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, which is great when you're getting stimulus checks. It's a 1980s law, very antiquated, that says you can't keep more than $3,000 on hand. Going away. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law, very antiquated. It's going to go away. It says you can't stay on benefits and also work. Now, if you want to work, you could. $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. And finally, the marriage penalty going away. Thank goodness. The marriage penalty penalizes you and disqualifies you from benefits if you get married. So some people who got married lost their benefits, and other people who want to get married can't get married for fear of losing their benefits. It's going away. And love's going to win. Love's going to win because you'll be able to consummate your vows with your love interest and not lose benefits. That's fifth stimulus. When's this going to happen? Two-step process in the fall, in September, likely to impact your benefits around November. So now let's go back to the fourth stimulus and the breaking news and why fourth stimulus got some major twists and turns. One of the fascinating bits, which you heard on LALATE evenings last night, is that as we go into the summer, as we approach the summer and we approach the vote for the fourth stimulus, Republicans are going to be heating up their midterm election campaigns. And ironically, they're not going to be taking aim at the president. A new report out of Politico, which was buried yesterday in the news, says that normally when you're trying to win the midterm elections, you take aim at the president and the president's agenda. And as we go to the fourth stimulus package, ironically, it's not the president who's putting the stimulus checks in there, it's the legislators. And ironically, it's not Nancy Pelosi. It is other Democrats who are both senators and House members who are putting the fourth stimulus checks in there. She doesn't disagree with it, but she's not been vocal about it. Well, guess what? Nancy Pelosi, the Temple of Doom, is coming back. How's the Temple of Doom coming back? The new reports say that the Republicans, in running their midterm election campaign starting the next few weeks, are going to use Nancy Pelosi as the bad guy, not the president, which is a break from how they've done it in previous years. Usually you go after the president and use him in your campaign ads. Now they're going to use the Temple of Doom. Got to get your hair done for that one. So then we go to the other breaking news, which is very big for fourth stimulus checks. Fourth stimulus checks got incredible great news, continues incredible great news yesterday. And suddenly legislators, both on a local level and also in Congress, have now finally understood for the first time in the history of this channel that stimulus checks are different instruments than unemployment stimulus and different instruments than rent stimulus. Rent stimulus is going away. Republicans and Democrats don't want to bring it back. So they don't want to bring back eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance. They don't want to give any more rent. That's why you got to get it right now. They want to lift it. They don't want to protect renters indefinitely. They want landlords to get their rent. And they want renters to have money for their rent. Then for purposes of unemployment assistance, FPUC, PUA, PUC are all going away. Democrats don't want to extend it, and Republicans want it gone, if not in a few months, if not sooner. But the great news is that the same people that want unemployment stimulus to go away also want to give you stimulus checks. Republican governors have come out and said, I don't want to give any more unemployment assistance. You're behind on your bills. Here's a stimulus check to get caught up in your bills. Incredible great news. For the first time, people understand, both from both sides of the political spectrum, that stimulus checks serve a specific purpose, and that is to get caught up on your bills. You could have a job. You could be back to work and still working, but be behind on your bills, and that's why a stimulus check is needed. You could be retired on Social Security or on benefits, and that a stimulus, and be able to pay for your rent, be able to pay for your mortgage, not be concerned about unemployment benefits because you're on disabilities or you're retired, but you need a stimulus check to get caught up on your bills. Stimulus checks is what get people caught up on their bills, so while the economy reopens, they are not still behind on their bills. Here's the reality check, is that while the economy is starting to reopen and the pandemic is about to end, people are still behind on their bills. And the only way you get them caught up on their bills is a stimulus check, monthly stimulus checks. And so during this recording, we went over those monthly forced stimulus checks. We went over fifth stimulus, how the incredible news, as people try to really hunt down where that inflationary rate may be later this year, that it's looking like it may not be 2 to 4%, may be substantially higher. A much higher inflation rate will raise your benefits a lot more. And in the middle of this recording, we went over the big money, some of it available still, like rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, get it right now, and other monies which you may have had to do something like file a tax return yesterday. If you didn't file that tax return, do it today. But for that, I appreciate all your love and support. So subscribe. This is LALATE. Coming up next is Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 noon. Tune in for that big show. Also, like this video. And jump into the live feed, still going on right after this video. It's going on live for about a couple more hours, about 4 more hours. It's the live crypto overnight, but you can chat anything about you want to chat about. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, never lose hope, always stay positive. There's so much upon the horizon, and I don't want you to miss anything. So stay with LA Performance.